Hey, so
Hi.
it's week 6 and it's Wellbeing Wednesdays again. Hi everybody, I'm back with Claire and Robin of the Female Fitness Academy, and this week we're talking about maternal mental health and having a baby in lockdown and how all of that is. And we've got two lovely guests on this week. The first is one of my besties, is Ali Bastian.
Hi.
Hi Bastian.
Hello.
I'll be calling you Bastian the whole way through.
I'm calling you Dan, it's all right.
Ali's just had a little baby, Isla, and Claire.
Yeah, well, then we've got Sally, who is the CEO of Active Pregnancy Foundation, a mental health advocate, and she said mum to a feisty 3-year-old.
Yeah, definitely feisty 3-year-old. Definitely that.
Oh, thanks, ladies. Thanks for coming on. So we were just, chatting about how crazy all of this is, full stop. Every week we've been talking about different kind of topics to do with lockdown and how we've been coping, and we've kind of called it our little 12-week survival guide. Really informal, just chatting about how this is affecting us, little tips and tricks for getting through. So this week we thought it'd be great to chat about, obviously Ali's just had Isla only a few weeks ago, and during all of this pandemic. So should we start with you, Ali? Like, kind of, obviously I've spoken to you personally as a mate, but share with us kind of your, as much as you or little as you want, your kind of experience and how you're finding it all now.
God, where to start, really? I mean, I had Isla by C-section just a few days before the lockdown. So when I was in hospital, there was already a huge sense of what was about to happen. So our midwife, just as I was leaving hospital, sat us down and said, look, I know everyone's going to want to meet the baby. Everyone's going to want to come and see you. But just really, I recommend that you don't have anybody over. Just go home, batten down hatches. And just get into your baby bubble. And so we took her really seriously. So we've been isolating since then. So she's 8 weeks tomorrow. And haven't, liked everybody now, but she hasn't met any family members. We haven't seen anybody, and it's just been David, Isla and I in our own little world, which is it's a real mixed bag, because on the one hand, it's really tough not seeing family, and like my mum I'm dying for a mum hug, let alone how much she wants to meet our baby and give her a cuddle and everything. But at the other side of the coin is my husband's been home. We've had this amazing bonding time. I feel closer to him than ever. I feel that he's had this amazing time with her. And when 2 weeks came around and he would have gone back after paternity leave, hello trouble. After paternity leave, we marked the day that he would have gone back. I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. Like 2 weeks paternity leave is just not enough, like statutory leave, and especially healing after surgery and everything. So to have him here has been awesome, but it's it's a crazy time, and I've missed the contact. I think I wasn't able to do all the classes in the run up, and so I don't have that 4 a.m. WhatsApp group that people talk about, but connecting a lot through different media like this, like through Instagram's been amazing. Spoken to so many other mums in the same situation, so I'm reaching out in every way that I can. But and midwife appointments as well, just not sort of having that as much support as I know they want to give as well. It's just not possible at the moment, but everybody's finding other ways.
Yeah, that was one of, we put a post out to get some questions yesterday, and that was one of the common themes that came back, was people saying, where is there to go for some kind of support when children's centres are closed, you're not doing your classes, you don't want a MyBe midwife and community health visitor because they're really busy, and there's other, and a lot of people said that they feel guilty that they know there's other people that need more support than them, but then in their own right they've just had a new baby and they want to connect with other people. They want to ask those questions that you ask over a coffee, and they were asking, where is there, like, what would be some recommendations of referral points we could give people?
So I totally get how why people have asked that, and I've felt the same, and I guess I've just really sounds strange, but I fought for myself in a different way to how I've ever had to before, because I've thought I need help, I need support, I need to ask questions, and I need to speak to other women. And whereas normally I might be one to probably done or vouch for this, but sometimes go quiet when I'm dealing with something. I've this time been like, no, I've got to pick up the phone and I've got to reach out. And so there's the NHS I've been breastfeeding, and that's a full-on experience in itself, and lots of highs and lows. And so the NHS have an advice line, and I called them, and it goes through to amazing volunteers who are in their own home, and they just sit and chat with you. And I spoke to one lady for about an hour, and at the end of the call, I didn't realize how much I needed someone to just say, you're doing all right, you're doing it right, like it's fine. And the relief was palpable. But I wanted to talk through everything that was going on, and just needed that, I think. And my health visitor as well has been amazing. We haven't met, but we've spoken over the phone. And and then outside of that, it's mainly just looking for there are Zoom meetups, there are all kinds of things bubbling up at the moment, because everybody's having to think of different ways to create connection, because we all need it. I need it, with this sort of thing, like just talking to you guys today. I feel myself offloading.
Ali is, considering she's like, this is at first time mummyhood for Ali, and she is absolutely smashing it. You've taken everything in your stride. I think you're doing incredible. I think just hats off for being a first time mum anyway, but going through something like this, honestly, I think you really are just, both of you and David, taking it in your stride and really doing so well. And it's so nice. I think you've got obviously a social presence, and it's great for other mums in the same situation to be able to see yourself going through this and dealing with it the way you are. And obviously then, like you say, reaching out, and that NHS service sounds incredible, being able to...
Oh, it is. Thanks, Dan. Don't make me cry, you bugger.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sally, what advice would you give?
Well, it's really interesting actually to see how many of the women who responded were first-time mums. I think, I remember being a first-time mum and the only time mum, and actually feeling so many of these same, kind of feelings, even though I was still able to get out of the house. It is actually, it brings into sharp focus what many mums feel anyway when they've got a baby at home for the first time, and how overwhelming it is, and how utterly kind of just wonder and awe and hideousness all at the same time, especially if you're healing as well. I remember when I had Floss, I could barely walk out the house, and there's definitely a sense of grief as well, that you're probably grieving the fact that you would have wanted your mum to be with you and your family and friends to come and see you. And actually, funny enough, when I had had Floss at home, it was exhausting having so many visitors. But you always want what you can't have, right? So I think it's accepting that you're kind of feeling this way, and it's okay to feel this way, and that this is a grieving process, because of what you wanted and how you wanted it to feel and be, and it just isn't. And getting to that point of acceptance and letting go of the fact that this is the reality that it is right now. This is it, and we've got to accept that, but it takes a while to get to that point.
Definitely.
Time.
We were just talking about it this morning, my husband and I, and saying we've got to watch we're not sort of bypassing our emotions a bit, because there's so much just sort of functioning and day to day, and it's it's really practical. You can't go to run away too much with a conversation or anything, because 5 seconds later there's a nappy to change and a baby that needs something. And in a way it was like the best project ever for not getting too lost in what's going on right now, but at the same time it's making sure that we are giving each other and having the space to process it all at the same time, which is probably always the situation when you have a newborn, I should think.
But also to be reassured that you can do this. I think there's a sense at the moment that we should all be reaching out, we should all be going for help and support all the time. It's is there something wrong with me if I'm not feeling bad about this? And actually it's okay just to sit in your own space and to rely on your own gut and know that you're doing this okay. It can be exhausting constantly reaching out for help. It can be exhausting sometimes sharing your story over and over again to people. Sometimes just sit in the space and be in it, and weep if you want to, but also share the joy of actually being able to be capable of doing this. We are all capable of doing this, and this is resiliency in its making, right? So we don't all get born with resilient genes. We have to practice it, and this is practice. And some of us will cope with it better than others, but it doesn't mean that we can't cope with it. we'll just cope with it in different ways.
God, Sally, I feel relief just listening to you talk about it.
Well, it's giving me a hot flush, so it's an emotional time. And, you know, we've had COVID in our family in the last week, and, you know, I see myself as a very resilient person. But in that space, when things are feeling very, very dark and very worrisome, you know, you kind of forget that how, you know, you have the ability to get through it. And sometimes you just have to sit back and say, you know, what have I been through in the past that will enable me to be able to get through this? And you'll see that there's so many situations that you face that you've kind of, you know, come out of. You've come out of the storm and come out the other side, and you are where you are today because of those experiences. So really connect with those past adventures, you know, resilience adventures, I'm going to call them. You know,
because we all find we have these resources and kind of hidden reservoirs that we didn't know we had, I think, at times like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You kind of have to have them, because if you don't have them, what's going to happen, right? So, you know, just have confidence that this too shall pass. And you shall make it. And if you're struggling, then reaching out for help is the best thing to do. And you know, when it comes to breastfeeding, has anybody heard of Laligalech?
Oh yeah,
right. So if you're really hurting, if your breastfeeding's not working, if your milk's not coming through, or you're engorging, or you just need advice, then that's a really good place to start. And they're on Facebook. So Laligalech is a really great support network for that sort of stuff.
Amazing. How have you, Ali? I think like you're obviously massively right, Sally. It's that we're in a situation, aren't we, that we've got no choice but to be in and deal with and get through, and I think reaching out and seeing what resources are out there is the way through all of this. Ali, how have you been finding it? With obviously you've not been able to see family and friends, and like we were saying would be the norm right now. How have you been connecting with those people? How are you finding that?
Do you know, it's interesting, I think, because there's a different kind of, I don't know if this will sound weird, but a different kind of intimacy going on at the moment, because we're talking face to face. Like, I know it's through an iPhone or a laptop, but we've been doing, you know, like we've been doing with our little group of girlfriends and everything. Through FaceTime and WhatsApp and all of this. I feel like we're spending more time just sitting down and talking and listening and hearing each other in a different way. It's not sort of, we haven't got the day-to-day, you know, just popping over to mum's for a cup of tea kind of thing going on, but we are getting to really talk and connect. And so, I don't know, it's interesting, I think, and it's been some really nice times. And, you know, David's parents, we talk to most days in the afternoons, and that's really nice. And yeah, I probably feel like I've got to know them in a different way over the last few weeks. So just having to find different ways to connect. But I find that really helps, to be honest. And if I start to feel really isolated within the isolation, then to have just 20 minutes on FaceTime with a friend or with family just makes such a difference.
Yeah, and also, you know, remember, this is, as a new mum, brand new, with a new baby in the house, it's a massively new experience, and in itself is quite isolating, because you can't share those emotions with many people, except maybe the women that you've met along the way who may be having babies at the same time. But it's a very special space to be in, and actually to be able to share it with your partner in such an intimate way is a real gift.
Yeah, I think that it is. It has been really bonding. Obviously, it's testing as well. We're having to renegotiate how we spend our time and what we're doing. And it's, it's definitely there, challenges with that. But at the same time, like I said, I do feel closer to him than ever. And he's just really, really stepped up to the plate. And yeah, I couldn't be more grateful, really.
I think that's really lovely for him that he's had that opportunity to get longer than a 2-week paternity, because so often dads are just kind of a bit of an afterthought in the whole new baby thing, because it's us that go through it, and although they're there and supportive and everything, they get their 2 weeks fixed time and then go back to work, and we're off for however long, 9 months, a year. And so to have that time day in day out with you and the new baby, I think is really special for them.
Definitely. I think we always intended to co-parent, but naturally he would go back to work, a lot sooner than me. And, yeah, it just, we are literally co-parenting in the you know, very, I can't find my words because I've had 3 hours sleep. What am I trying to say? You know, the truest